Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health, a podcast of resources for restoring vigor and vitality, bringing you top influencers in the men's health arena, case studies of men who have succeeded and how they did it, and cutting-edge teaching on men's health issues from America's leading men's health guru, Dave Skattum. Get ready to take steps towards good health. Here's your host, Dave Skattum.
This is my belief. Everyone has their own individual journey towards a good health. And anybody that is healthy has had kind of a unique experience getting to that point where, whether it's being healthy within our nutrition, with exercise and fitness, or just your mindset and the way your brain is functioning, or your spiritual life. We all have this unique path that has taken us to an area of health. And here's another thing that I believe. Some of the areas were weak and some are strong. And that's why I'm so excited to do these next few podcasts with some guys that I know that I think have achieved some success in the area of health. And today especially, I have this great guy on our podcast, and his name is Lefford. I've known him for a couple years. And you've heard my story about my trip to losing weight and getting healthy, somewhat healthy, and I'm still on that path. But I wanted to interview Lefford Fate because he is a pretty amazing guy with a great story that you're really going to enjoy. And here's just a couple things about Lefford. He's certified to facilitate, speak, train, and coach individuals and groups in the area of leadership development, personal skills, and personal growth with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Wow, the Napoleon Hill Foundation. He's like the father of modern self-improvement. So way to go there. Professionally, he has mentored and served thousands of military members and their families for over 30 years in the United States Air Force. And Lefford, I just want to say, my son-in-law is a military guy, and so I see firsthand the sacrifice and the things that military people go through to serve their country. And I just want to say a big shout out to you and thank you for your service for those 30 years and your continued service even now. But since retiring from the military, Lefford was a program director for a mental health program, deputy director for health services in South Carolina's Department of Corrections, and now a director of support services for the city of Sumter, South Carolina. A great leader once said this. He said, "The 2 greatest days in a person's life are the days that he was born and the day that he discovered what he was born to do." Lefford believes that there's a why for everyone, that each of us was created with the potential to achieve greatness, to make a difference in this world, to add value, and as a result, experience a full and rewarding life. For 30 years, Lefford's purpose was to defend our nation in the U.S. Air Force. And now that purpose is helping people discover their life's purpose and to grow to their full potential. That's a mouthful, Lefford, but Lefford holds a master's degree in human relations and a bachelor's in social psychology, and he's committed to these core values that he has. If you know Lefford, these things just exude out of him. And his values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all he does. And Lefford, I just want to say thank you so much for being on this podcast, and I'm so looking forward to the things that are going to come out of your mouth and out of your mind, and I think you're really going to be a great help to a lot of people out there. So thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. I was just listening to you talking my bio. I was like, man, I want to meet that guy.
yeah. Everybody should want to meet that guy. First, let's start this off. What I'm curious about is, before we launch into this health thing, or maybe this correlates, but I'm curious about, what is on the front burner with Lefford Fate today? What is getting you out of bed? What's driving you right now? What's going on in your life right now? What's today bringing?
Well, man, it's an exciting time. I truly believe that I was made for a time such as this. You can't go 2 steps or past a phone or newspaper or internet post not talking about COVID-19. And since I am a director, I supervise and lead people, and I have programs in the city of Sumter, what's top of waves in front of mine is to try to keep myself safe and healthy, as well as my people safe and healthy. I'm a father and a grandfather and a husband, so there's people in my life that I'm thinking about and concentrating on to keep them encouraged. Understand that we're about serious business right now, but all of us have a place and a space that we can keep ourselves safer by doing smarter things. And so that's at top of waves right now for me.
Yeah. It's like, I think this is consume us, and we can turn this into something good, or can, turn us into knots. And so a way to go there is keeping us healthy and keeping your family healthy. That's an awesome thing. So here, in these next few podcasts, this is how I'm going to start them all off. What I want to know from you is if you could put like the ideal guy up on this, like one of those Greek columns, and say, this is the perfectly healthy person. What do you see? What kind of a person do you see up on that? Like if it's like the perfect healthy man, what's that person look like? Define that for me.
Wow. The perfect healthy man to me, I would love to say that person would be me, but I wouldn't be telling the truth. It's because I look at following the 8 dimensions of wellness. And I've heard 7 dimensions, 8 dimensions, 10 dimensions. But, for me, it's physical, it's social health, it's financial health, it's spiritual health, it's social. Again, I would see somebody that's strong physically, with endurance and strength and flexibility. Somebody that's got I'm not going to call it a work-life balance, but understanding who they need to be at every particular time, that their mental and emotional health is strong and they're paying attention to those things. Somebody that's eating well, moderate in their drink and everything. That's why I see that person. And I got to be honest, one of the biggest things I'd like to see is a smile on that guy's face.
Yeah.
That is what I see as a healthy person.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's like a tip of an iceberg. You can get so deep into that. A smile on a person's face is like that's a deep thing right there. So that's pretty cool. The 8 dimensions of health, is that the term you use? The 8 dimensions of health?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that something that is coming from you, or is that something you've heard somewhere else, or what? Because I've never heard that before.
It's something that I've heard on and off through my military career. And again, since I've been out, there's been 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 dimensions of wellness. But it all basically makes sure that people are taking care of all aspects of their life. And one of the reasons that I focus so much on it is because as a military person, I always had to exercise. I joined the Air Force in 1981 at 17 years old. And I've always run and push-ups and sit-ups and lifted weights and all that. We had physical training tests, so I was very, very strong in a lot of things. But one of the things that I wasn't very strong in is I held stuff in. And so I would get frustrated. And actually, I remember it was back in the middle 90s. I was stationed in Alamogordo, New Mexico, a place called Holloman Air Force Base. I was stressed out and frustrated. Every once in a while, I would be coughing up blood.
Whew.
And again, I was physically fit. I was strong. I was running 8 to 10 miles a day. But I would be stressed out about stuff, and I would internalize it. And I wouldn't talk to anybody about it, because men are strong, and they're not supposed to have issues or worries, and they can't cry, or they can't be frustrated. They can't tell people what's going on. All the other things was right, but I was eating myself up inside. As healthy as I looked, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, I was not altogether there.
That's something that I discovered. I came to a point in my life where I said, I got to change things, or I'm like physically going to die here, or at least, be in bad shape. And it was almost like, okay, so I could totally concentrate on just like cardio and muscle building, but there's a lot more to health than just having a muscular body. That's critical and it's important, but if you don't bring those other areas up the ladder at the same time, it's almost like you're hemorrhaging, like one part of your existence is healthy and positive, but the other part is shrinking, and it's like the weakest link in the chain is what breaks, so that's
exactly the weakest link concept is right there.
Yeah.
And I've seen that my whole life. And it's just not every. I'm not gonna say everybody, because I know some very balanced people.
Yeah.
But I grew up in the church, and you may or may not know that about me. But I grew up in the church, and some of the best singers I've ever seen. They're amazing singers, and spiritually they're strong, and emotionally they're strong. But they overeat, and they're just unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so they don't do well. And my mom was a spiritual person. She died at 49 years old. She was a diabetic and high blood pressure, and she had a heart attack. I mean, she's a wonderful woman. She did everything for everybody. She was a saint, but physically she wasn't taking care of herself. So you have to health, to me, is more than just what you look like. It is the whole package.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's. I think that's one of the key things in my life that drives me in this pursuit of helping men take steps towards good health. Is I've seen so many guys that have been cut short, it's like your mom, cut short early in life because of, not always, but many times just because of poor choices that we make. And so it's just, if we can, I just want to start this health revolution that just helps people get on this wagon of good health, so that just like in your bio, there's I want to help people get to the place where they find their mission in life and they're thriving in that and changing the world because of that. I was going to ask you about you just mentioned a struggle that you have. Is there, as you've kind of gone along in your life, with your kind of pursuing good health and being a good, healthy, rounded person, is there any major struggles that you see yourself? You mentioned that you pinned up emotion type stuff. Is there other areas in your life that you are dealing with or you had to deal with?
Well, one of the things that, funny enough, I have to deal with is that I put stress on myself, and I like it. I really like to be on the edge and going fast and moving hard. One of the things that I used to struggle with a great deal, and sometimes still, is I can be considered a bit of a workaholic. I like to put in work. I grew up in an environment that basically said nobody will outwork you. Wow. And so there's great benefits from that. But Dave, you may have heard this. Often a person's greatest weakness is a strength overdone. And so I struggle with that, but how I work it is I make sure that I exercise every day. Walking, and whether it's walking my dog, running, lifting, push-ups, sit-ups, whatever, every day I'm doing something. But the reality is that sometimes I am grinding so hard doing some work that I may look up and, man, I haven't eaten, or I've been sitting down for a while and not got up and moved. I had to put some what I call yellow lines in there to make sure that every hour I'm up, for 10 minutes I'm up moving around. I actually got to make sure I get some food in my stomach, because I can go a long time, maybe military training, but I can go a long time without eating. And you need to eat. you need to eat and make sure you eat nutritional stuff. So I make it a priority to stay fit and to take care of myself. I 100% believe if I can give anybody any advice about this whole fitness thing, Dave, it is health and fitness is a study. Study it, pay attention to it, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And if you focus on it, saying, I intend to be healthy and fit, study it, then you'll start doing those things to make you healthier and fitter.
Hey, here's another thing I'm just dying to hear your answer to this. So if you look, because this is going to probe into your past, and I don't know much about just more of your current stuff, but looking back over your life, what were some of the key things that helped come to this place where you wanted to be a healthy person? If you look back over your life, were there people, were there circumstances, were there positive things, were there negative things that happened to you? But what was it, some key things if you look back? And I want to frame this a little bit in this way. Is that, what are some takeaways that people can take away from Lefford Fate's story about what they can, maybe they're younger, maybe what can they start doing now that will get them to a place of health? But if you look back over your life, what are some key things that...
Okay, well, several things. One is I've always been an athlete, love basketball, football, baseball, so I like to play.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, play. Find something that you used to enjoy when you was a kid or younger and do it. I mean, golf, baseball, bowling, whatever. I think that's hugely important.
Yeah.
And that's the good side of it, because I've always been competitive. I like to play and enjoy my life, and I see the benefit of that. I realize that it makes you better. On the negative side of that thing, again, I was 21 years old when my mom had a heart attack and died. And I looked around my family. We had several people in my family that were 300 pounds, big people. And everybody's not there, but even the people that weren't obese, they were overweight, and they did not take care of themselves that way. We used to eat fried everything, and it was just good. Sweet tea, sweet Kool-Aid. I'm salivating now just talking about it. But so it's good, but not necessarily good for you.
Right.
And so I saw the benefits of exercise, and then I've seen the negative of not taking care of yourself. Jim Rohn is one of my favorite philosophers. And he said that there's two words based in antiquity that are amazing: beware and behold. The behold part was see what happens when you exercise, you have fun, and you play. If you laugh, you smile, you're happy, there's all of that stuff there. Even dance, it makes you happy. And beware. That is, if these are things that can hurt you if you don't pay attention. So I make sure I beware and I behold. What is the good stuff and what's the negative stuff? And go there and pay attention to it. That's what I would tell anyone.
That is cool. Beware and behold. I'm writing that down. So, second to the last question. If you could wave, like if you had a magic wand and you were like the king of the world and you had all power, what would you do for every man to help us be more healthy? What would you do specifically to help every man be more healthy?
I would find somebody that they wanted to be healthy for more than they wanted to be healthy for themselves. And this is why. My mother, I said it before, was a saint. She would give her shirt off her back. She would do anything for anybody. She would give her last. If I had a moment with her today, I would say, Mom, I love you.
Yeah.
But if you take care of you for me, I'll take care of me for you. Because my son, none of my children, I have 4 children, had an opportunity to meet their grandmother. Now, my mom has a twin sister there, and they've met their Aunt Mary, but they've never been able to meet my mother. So I would tell them, say, who is it in your life that you want to take care of you so you'll be able to take care of them? That's what I would tell them.
Man.
Because you know how guys are. We we may not do stuff for ourselves, but there's somebody we love we'll do something for.
Yeah. Man, I think you just hit like on a deep nerve there of this whole thing about why should I be healthy? And it's really when you peel back the onion and get to the core, it's really not about us, is it? It's about the impact that we have on our society, the impact that we have on our loved ones, on our family, our associates. That is so good. Well, was there anything else before we're kind of hitting the end of our time? Was coming to your top of your head that you wanted to share regarding men's health and being a healthy guy?
Yeah. Hey, right now, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Wash your hands and be careful, because sometimes we're so close to it we can't see the forest for the trees. Basically, right now, wash our hands, take care of ourselves, because and I got 4 children and grandkids. How you treat yourself is how the people you love are going to treat themselves. So we're examples. I'm a believer, and I'm not saying the man is the head of anything except we are leaders. Yeah. And we're supposed to lead the people around us. So if we act right, people around us will act right. If we act poorly, people around us will act poorly. So we need to lead in our space, Dave. Lead in our space. Cool.
Hey, if anybody wants to get a hold of Lefford, man, and you should, man, if you could get on Lefford's inner circle, man, that would like put you in a new place in your life. But Lefford has this great website. It's Lefford Fate, LEFFORDFATE.com, and I'll put that in the show notes so you can click on his website. And I'm sure there's a contact us page. And is there anything that you wanted to mention that you're working on that people should know about, or anyway, anything you want to throw out there at the end here? And we'll just wrap up with this. So if you want, you just like make a grand slam home run statement here, okay?
Well, I got 2 books out right now. One is Correcting Corrections, Why Am I in Prison? And it's dealing with incarceration and the mentally ill. And the other one is the 17 steps towards a positive mental attitude. Positive mental attitude, I think, is one of the things that we all need. And let me end with this. In 2019, more military members died by suicide than died in combat. That's why I'm really, really big on mental health. This Correcting Corrections, Why Am I in Prison, is a huge thing for me, because mental health is something that we all need to focus on. So reach out, take a look at those things. Even if you just want to take a look. I'm not trying to sell anything. I just want to try to help people be safe and healthy.
You've been listening to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health with Dave Skattum. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit the4pillarsofmenshealth.com.